and welcome here to TalkFCB, and welcome back to club football here on the channel, as Barça will make their eagerly awaited return with an exciting clash against Sevilla in matchday 10 in La Liga, where Hansi Flick, guys, will be officially welcoming back several key players to his squad. And today we're going to be focusing yet again on the words of Hansi Flick, because I would have to say there were plenty of surprises today in his press conference. We're going to be talking all about those words, full discussion on the lineup that we could see, and of course, guys, who is going to come out on top this week in the predictions. It is all on the way, so let's do it. Because first of all, guys, we do have to give some very special super thanks shout-outs here on the channel. There is so much excitement right here ahead of Barca's return. Big thank you here to Franco, to Sammy, and to Max. We all can't wait for Barca's comeback and maybe even the return of player ratings. Let's wait and see what happens, because heading into this game, guys, I think, though, mixed with all of that excitement and the anticipation, I think there is definitely a sense of caution, though, heading into this game on Sunday for two different reasons. I think number one, of course, as always at Barca, we dread coming back from international breaks. You know, we want to see the team back, but we all know it can be tricky to get into that same rhythm. We're always wary of it at Barca, and especially with a few players here returning with a knock or two, it can sometimes be a little bit tricky. But I think number two, I think the really important point here, and we're all thinking about it, the week ahead of us, the big games that are just on the horizon here. And those are games, you know, against Bayern, against Real Madrid, that we cannot wait for, that we are so excited about. But to be honest, we have to try not to think of them right now. I think that's the kind of message that Flick will be sending out to his squad. You know, we're thinking about preparing, about doing things in the right way, but those games aren't here yet. We've got to focus on this one on Sunday against a strong team in Sevilla. That has to be our focus. And I certainly do believe, guys, that this morning in the training session at Barca, Hansi Flick had that in his mind, because in fact his press conference today was actually delayed by 15-20 minutes here, because training actually went on for longer than was expected. So Hansi Flick today really putting the squad through their paces, and when he actually came back there into the press conference room, the journalists were all waiting for him, and he said, "Did you miss me?" Of course, they haven't seen him for 2 weeks over the international break, but starting first of all with Lamine Yamal. We've all been anxiously awaiting updates on him. Is he going to be ready to play? Is he right to play? That's the most important thing, of course, ahead of this weekend. Flick says he's spoken with Yamal. He is ready to play. He is fully recovered, and we aim to play with our best team on Sunday. Now, we did emphasise there that we've been talking very closely with him. We won't take any risk with him, of course, ahead of the games that we have to come, but he says Yamal is ready. And of course, the club have done lots of tests on Yamal since he came back there from Spain. Now remember, there was no real injury. It wasn't an injury issue. It was more of a precaution there. So with that in mind, and Flick's words today, I expect Yamal to start. Because indeed on Sunday, guys, our opponents are going to be Sevilla, and they are 12th in the table right now. But as you all know, they can always be a tricky team to face. You know, coming up against Sevilla, you know they can cause you problems if they play at their maximum level. And today Flick was very complimentary towards them. And don't forget as well that Sevilla coming into this game, they're off the back of a derby win against Real Betis just before the international break. And that will have given them some real confidence. And we will be facing here a very familiar face in the opposition dugout on Sunday. It is none other than Garcia Pimienta, who was named as the new head coach of Sevilla after some really great work that he was doing at Las Palmas. And of course, we've seen Pimienta at Barca as both a player and a coach for many years indeed, and he worked very well with the younger talents coming through the academy there, and he deserves a lot of respect for that there. He said, "Barcelona, it was my home for such a long time," and he actually said as well before this game that he still keeps in contact there with several of those players that he worked with coming through, but when the match starts, each side will be fighting for their own interest there. So we have to bring our maximum level here on Sunday up against Sevilla. But in terms, of course, of those big returns this weekend, that is the one thing here that we're so excited about. These players coming back to the squad, bolstering our options significantly. What is the update on those players? Today Flick said, "I can confirm that Gavi, Dani Olmo and Fermin Lopez, they're all fit, they are all available, and they will be in the squad. They are coming coming back, guys. He said most likely all of them will be on the bench. We will see what happens, because our focus, and we are thinking a little bit as well about Wednesday's match there. So Flick wants to get them back integrated into the squad. They're going to be in the squad list, but I think each player is going to receive something different when it comes to that game time, because Fermin Lopez, for instance, guys, he was the one out of the three who had the least serious injury problem. He's only been out there for a few weeks. It wasn't really a major issue, so I think he's probably going to get the most minutes in this game when he comes off the bench. Dani Olmo, we said before, may get around 20 minutes or so. He's only trained with the team for just a few days this week. But then Gavi, guys, that's going to be the interesting one, because I think it's going to depend on how the game goes. You know, if things get really comfortable out there for Barca, that will be the aim here, to really wrap the game up and also to make it not too intense, because then I think he'll come on. He could get a few minutes at the end of the game just to get him back into things again, but they are going to be careful, Barca. They're not going to throw him back in here to a real high-intensity situation for a lot of minutes at once. They're going to do things slowly. There will definitely be a plan, but as Matt says right here, guys, when he does come on, can you imagine the roar? Can you imagine the atmosphere here and how glad and happy everybody will be in the stands and at home to welcome Gavi back? It's going to be spine-tingling, and I cannot wait, because Hansi Flick was indeed then asked, what is the best position for Gavi in your team? Where do you see him best there in your midfield? And what he said was, I can say that our midfield has many players who can play in different positions, but he said considering Gavi's mentality, his intensity, his aggression there used in the right way, the way that he carries the ball and how he can maintain possession, he said, I think that he can play as a number 6 and as well a number 8. You know, he said he can play in both roles very, very well. So there's definitely options there in terms of using Gavi in this Flick midfield. He can play deeper, but he can also be more advanced. He's got so much quality, of course, in all areas of his game. However, guys, then we do start to move on to some of these big surprises, in my opinion here, from Hansi Flick's press conference. And let's start with the goalkeeping situation, because he was asked there about Inaki Pena, about Wojciech Szczesny, about who would start in this game, and Flick was in no doubt. He said there is no reason to change things tomorrow. Inaki Pena, he will start. He will be the goalkeeper. And that already, for me, it was a bit of a shock. You know, we've seen Szczesny training very, very hard over the international break. We've heard him say himself, he feels ready. He feels ready to play in this team. But Flick here is seeing no reason to change as of right now. And he says Pena will start. But he actually went even further, because then he was asked, what about the Bayern game, though? What about the Champions League? Could we see rotation, maybe, depending on the game, depending on the competition? But he said, right now, it is not our idea to change goalkeeper for the Champions League against Bayern. He said, you never know what can happen, but for me, Inaki Pena will play tomorrow, and he is expected to play on Wednesday, although I am very happy with Szczesny. So right now, from Flick's words, Pena plays against Sevilla, then he plays against Bayern Munich in the Champions League. And I've got to admit, guys, I was shocked by that news there. I was thinking here, maybe we'd see Szczesny straight away. Now, I don't know here whether it's a case of Flick backing Pena, having actual trust in Pena, and believing, okay, he's the best man for the job right now, or is it a case of thinking Szczesny isn't quite ready? Of course, he's had the chance to see him right throughout the international break. It is going to take here a bit of time coming out of retirement, of course. Does Flick feel as though Szczesny's not there yet and will turn to him later? Or does he genuinely believe that Inaki Pena is still the number 1 choice at Barca? That is going to be really interesting. And again, we're going to be watching him on Sunday. It's a big game for Pena, especially ahead of the week to come. Bayern, Real Madrid, you can't afford mistakes in those games. You need to be absolutely ready. Every single player must perform. These are big moments for him, defining moments in his Barca career. And what do you make of that call there from Flick, guys? What do you make of the fact that Pena will play against Sevilla and will play against Bayern? That is the plan. Do you agree with it? Because then we move on to one of the other really surprising moments from today's press conference here, and this one all centres around Frenkie de Jong, because Flick openly said he was thinking of starting de Jong on Sunday against Sevilla. Throughout the international break there, ahead of this game, he was thinking, okay, is it time to bring de Jong back into the starting lineup? And for me, that in itself is a bit of a shock there, because given how much we've heard here from de Jong himself, from Ronald Koeman as well during the international break, how much bench. The minutes that he has gotten has taken out him. He's found them tough at times. He's really trying to recapture that sharpness here, and of course he is still encountering a little bit of pain here and there, so I was surprised to see, okay, could he go straight back into the starting lineup? I didn't really feel as though it was time. And what we are hearing now today, Flick says that De Jong actually felt a bit of discomfort in his ankle yesterday. He said today he did start training with the whole team again, but he then trained individually. I wanted him to play in the starting lineup. I've been thinking about it, but let's wait and see. So obviously, ever since Frankie came back, we've all been hoping, okay, let's hope that ankle stays pain-free, because we know the situation and the problem there, it hasn't exactly been resolved. It's not all fixed, it's not all cured. It's kind of just hoping here that we can keep that pain to a minimum, that he can play and be able to train and basically have confidence in that ankle. But for me, he's still building up that confidence again. He's still building up that stamina, really, to be involved from the start of games. And for that reason now, because of that new pain, because of, again, this little interruption in the training, I don't expect him to start, and again, we'll build up those minutes, I feel, coming off the bench. Then, though, Flick indeed was asked about Ansu Fati. That is another question that we've all got coming into not only this game, but many of the games to come now. Are we going to start seeing more and more of Ansu Fati, especially since in that forward line, the options, they're opening up for him. He is going to have chances and opportunities to play. Is this one right here? And Flick said today, there's a real chance that Ansu could start tomorrow. He said his improvement has been incredible, but it's also not easy for him to get minutes, seeing how Rafinha is playing, and it's not easy for anybody to get into this team and for anybody to start right now. So Flick, again, really high praise for Ansu, saying there that his improvement, the way that he's been looking, has been incredible, and he admits there's an opportunity for him tomorrow. And I just think right here, guys, Ansu has gone through that whole process. He's come off the bench a few times now. He's been working really hard in training. He's had to be patient. The opportunities haven't always come his way. But I think when he's come on, he has looked to make things happen. He has looked there to really make an impact. He's had a few shots at goal. Hasn't been too far away from getting on the score sheet, especially now with Ferran out injured. This is his moment. Surely right here, this Sunday, it's a huge chance. Will he get the start? Because indeed, guys, based on everything that we've heard here from Hansi Flick today, and especially given the importance of this game, because obviously what you can't forget, especially ahead of the Clásico next weekend, you want to keep up that same pace. You want to make sure here that we still have that nice gap between us and Real Madrid. And what you don't want to do this weekend is give up unnecessary points. So very, very important here that we win this game, do the job that we need to do, and to do that, we will start as strong as we possibly can. Inaki Pena, he is Hansi Flick's choice for the goalkeeper. The back line, it picks itself. You know that. Koundé, Pau Kubasi, Inigo Martinez, and Alejandro Balde, who recently celebrated his 21st birthday in midfield. Marc Casado, what a player. Can he continue his incredible form? Pedri for me alongside him. And then in that forward line, Lamine Yamal on the right. Let's keep Rafinha in that dangerous central area. And on the left, Ansu Fati. Let's give him his moment. Let's give him here an opportunity from the start of the game to impact it and really help build that confidence with him. And starting up front, he is fit, ready to go, and on fire in front of goal, Robert Lewandowski. And of course, guys, even just there, looking at the strength of that lineup, looking at the quality that's out there, and then you start to look at the bench, the options there that can come on, and certainly will as the game goes on. You've got Fermin, you've got Dani Olmo, you've got hopefully Gavi coming on for minutes, and indeed Frenkie de Jong, providing he's all okay to play. And this is the squad that we're talking about. These are the players, the options, the depth that we're speaking about here. Flick possessing, and it's happening now. It is all clicking into place. Now let's deliver. But of course, guys, we must talk about the predictions ahead of this game, because in the last one, before the break against Alaves, you guys narrowed the gap. You went with Lewandowski to score, you got the winning margin right, and you closed the gap there to 16-8 right now, and with big, big games on the way, of course. But this Sunday against Sevilla, you guys have opted for a Barça win by 3 goals. That's the margin that you're going for, and I think for a lot of people here, you don't want to go too overboard right now, because coming back from the break, we've spoken about some of the caution that we've had, and I think 3 goals appears to be the big, big majority. But for me, I am actually going to push that boat out. I am actually going to go further here. Why not go 4? Let's go with a Barça 4-goal margin of victory this weekend against Sevilla. But in terms of the goal scorer, well, Robert Lewandowski, he's made me change everything. He's been so impressive in front of goal that he's made me restructure my whole system to keep the votes interesting there. So right now we have who will score first for Barca, Lewandowski, or Yamal, Rafinha, Ansu or Pedri, or everyone else. And if Lewandowski keeps scoring, I'm going to have to put Lewandowski and then the rest. Because you guys, again, have gone for Big Robert. You think that he's going to score again. He may well do. But I've got to try and go something different here. Let's try and have different options. I'm going to say it's going to be Yamal, Rafinha, Ansu or Pedri. And maybe, could it be Ansu? If he starts, could he get the opening goal scoring on his return to the lineup? That's going to be the question, guys. And I think we've got lots to be excited about and lots to look forward to right here on Sunday. Do let me know all of your predictions down below. Who do you think is going to score first? What is going to be the scoreline? Let's hope for a Barca win. Let's hope to get perfectly ready and prepared for next week against Bayern and Madrid. We will be ready, and we will all be there together. Thank you indeed, guys, for watching, for all of your support, and I will catch you all very soon. But until next time, as always, Vejka, El Barça.